Want some candy?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
I hear you looking for candy, man, bitch.
Give me some sugar, baby. Like scary movies.
Uh-huh. You want some candy?
He's the guy over there.
Oh, yeah. What looks so sweet and tastes so fine? That's right, you guessed it. It's Monster Candy Podcast time.
Come on, all right.
And tonight,
too
we
sweet
have
to
a
be
very
sour, right
special
there.
guest host for you guys. You candy killers are in for a treat from the greatest band of all time, ARNOCORPS. We have the front man of the year.
Yeah, wow. Hey, of the whole good.
Holzfeuer.
All right. Hey, thank you for the terrific introduction. And this year is one of the few years I can make the climb because I'm one of the few frontmen who have performed live in front of an audience this year. That is terrific, right? But last year, I didn't do shit. You couldn't call me anything. But you might be wondering.
Exactly.
Right? You're wondering, Holzfeuer, this is an audio podcast. Why are you showing up here with your sunglasses, even your face paints all day? And it's because I got to tell you something. With this whole COVID, the whole pandemic, I have seen people left and right half-assing it, right? People phoning it in. I'm tired of the half-assing. I want people, when they think of Holzfeuer from ARNOCORPS, that guy is a full ass right there. That's what I'm here to do. I'm screwing around.
And on that note, welcome, Candy Killers. This is Monster Candy Podcast, and I am one of the co-hosts, Screaming E from the Memphis Murdermen. Yes. And we have Oobzilla from
Tsunami,
who might possibly be the greatest keyboardist of all time.
Hey, right
possibly.
There. I've witnessed this with my own eyeballs. In fact, this is the last time I saw you in Pearson was on stage. It was a goddamn farewell show. Yeah, back then you didn't know that ARNOCORPS had the foresight to predict what was about to happen. That's why we were calling it quits tonight. You guys, you're putting out the records, all this. Yeah, I apologize for not letting you in on the shit I knew.
Well, you gave me a little bit of a hint because that was the last show I played. Remember, my band played a few shows afterwards, and I stayed over here.
Out of there!
Yes.
But it's all right because there's Monster Candy Podcast.
Which, speaking of bands, Dominic Davy, our other co-host, is still finding all his love signals with his girlfriend. So he's on his little love trip, his love journey.
I have heard.
Yes. And Shotzi Blackheart is at Monday Night Raw tonight, actually. So
terrific.
But she did give me her rating for this movie. So
with this, she and I, of course, already have some things in common, but now even more because
balls
tonight.
Has a balls.
I was drafted to the goddamn Monster Candy Podcast, and tonight she's being drafted to one of these WWE programs right there. Terrific. What do you know? And she's got that little ballsy thing going on. Hey, what can I tell you?
You know a thing or two about balls.
A little bit. She could always tell people.
Two balls.
Hey.
Only two. No more.
Sometimes three. You never know. You know.
We're
So
getting carried away.
here we are. Hey, that's what we do.
I think you got to tell everybody that is tuning in right now. The thing is, it says it right on there, I'm sure, when this is uploaded. This is about Vamp right now. Vamp!
Whoa. 1986. Come on.
1986.
It was a
This
Great
is-
year.
This is
I
incredible.
was 4. I was like eating solid food. It was a good year.
I was 13
Ooh.
years old when this movie came out.
I was 8.
You know, I like you guys. No, I know. You know,
episode.
so
You get to
I
be the little baby.
I appreciate this so much. I can't even tell you, because in the band I was always the baby, and now with Kate there, you know, she's the baby, and at my job,
You're
you
the
know,
veteran.
I employ like kids as young as 14, and it's great when your tattoos are older than your staff and they're talking about how they started listening to oldies recently, and I'm like, oh yeah, what? And they're like, I heard this band like The Clash.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's what my parents listen to, the oldies. And I'm like, get the fuck out of my face,
Oh, yes.
please.
Let me tell you something.
Oh,
Well, now you get to be the kid again.
I know. I'm so
Wait,
excited.
I'm the kid.
You're the kid.
Not anymore.
How many kids?
buddy.
Oh, god damn it.
No. Oh, I'm the kid. Motherfucker.
Ah, you son of a But-
I'm always the old
Makes
guy.
me so
I'm the
happy.
oldest one in my band, but it's all right.
Let-
I'm also
You
the
don't
most
look it.
experienced.
You're also the tallest,
I'm the
Yeah.
tallest. I'm the most experienced. I'm the oldest.
strongest.
Probably the strongest too.
I think you're the strongest. Yeah, definitely.
Probably.
Let me tell you. So I had this girl ask me how old I
Ooh.
was. And I was like, 41. She's like, what the fuck? No way. Get out of here. You're bullshitting. I'm like, no, for real. I'm 41. She was like, oh, wow. You're older than my parents. I was like,
Yeah.
it's like
It's what happened.
fantastic.
when we got our newest guitar player, the fantastic Odom Creek troll, it did not take long for me to discover that his parents are the same age as me right there. And that was, you know, a mind fuck right there. I'm like, forget about it. But it turns out
Yeah.
his parents are ballsy too. So it's
Well,
all
there
right.
you
It
go.
works out. And plus, he hates when I mention it. He hates when I point out that he's the youngest guy in ARNOCORPS and all that, because he's really, what do you call it when somebody has an older vibe, like an older spirit?
Old soul.
Old soul.
Old soul. He's an old soul, big time.
You got to
So
start
he
calling him
gets
son. Come on,
Yeah.
son.
Come on.
Come on,
on,
partner.
son.
He doesn't
Kiddo.
like that.
Come
He
on,
don't-
little buddy.
He wants to
Come
be
on,
right
Skippy.
there. He wants to skip. Yeah, he's Skippy because he wants to skip a bunch of years and pretend he's older. That's right.
Yeah. That used to be me. And then I stopped that
However,
quickly.
I wasn't old enough to watch this movie Vamp when it came out. Or maybe I would, you know, if my older brother was
The ratings
cool.
in the 80s were a little different.
Hey, exactly.
They would have
This
let you
was
in.
rated R, and I think I could have gone to see it. But you know what? It was totally not on my radar, this movie at all. Because this is 1986. Out of curiosity, because I was like, God damn, this movie came out in 86. That was a hell of a year. How did I not know it? I looked up all the movies that came out in 1986. This list is crazy. I just posted some Aliens, Back to School with, remember, Rodney Dangerfield?
Yeah.
Big
Oh, of
Trouble
course.
in Little China, Blue Velvet, Ferris Bueller, The Fly, Highlander, Howard the Duck, Little Shop of Horrors, No Retreat, No Surrender, Platoon, Pretty in Pink, Rad, right? Come on.
Mhm.
Stand By Me,
Yes.
Top Gun, Three Amigos,
Yeah.
and Transformers the movie. And
Exactly.
that's like a small portion.
Speaking of
You guys
Transformers,
just
the
saw
movie,
that.
me and Enzo
That's
just
right.
went to see that.
That's right. That's
You
right.
and Enzo and someone else went to see that.
I was invited.
We'll talk about that later.
I was invited to that party. Just so
You
you
should have
know.
gone and punched in the face.
All right. Maybe next time.
Cool.
I've not met that
Rain
kid in
check.
person. All right. Should it do an official challenge right now?
Oh, he's turning a little pinkish there. What are you?
Hey,
It's because I'm drinking tea and it's hot.
Oh,
Barbie,
yeah.
stop screwing around. Next goddamn movie party. Forget about it. I'm there too. All right.
All right. The cat is out of the bag. We are going to talk about 1986's Vamp. But first,
I
right.
have
Horror
something. I have something, and it's something that you talk about a lot, E.
ooh,
And
I have one thing. So,
and something that you love, and usually I love, which is the NECA figurines.
Those are terrific.
So they unveiled their new Elvira.
I saw that too. I don't think they nailed the face this time.
Mm.
Usually
No,
they're
it's
so good.
awful. Yeah.
Usually they nail it. Some reason, Elvira, I spotted this in my feed on the Instagram. I was like, whoa, that is not the Elvira that I know and love. What do you guys think?
Thank you. Thank you so much. I feel the same. I was really excited when I heard about it, and then I looked, and even the like pomp on her hair is too high a little bit. Like the proportions are off. But yeah, she's almost cross-eyed, but not. And it just sucks because she's such like an icon and has been around forever. And so they had probably like a million pictures to look at to do this. And for some reason, like they usually just knock shit out of the park. And this one, I'm real bummed about it.
It's a little tough for like human faces because they did the same with McCready from The Thing, which
Oh, you're right.
he looks a little bit more like
I'm blaming
Michael
COVID
McDonald.
on this one. COVID.
You're blaming him.
or
COVID. I mean,
or Bob
like I
Seger,
said
maybe.
earlier,
But it does not look
about
like
people half-assing it this time.
Yeah.
They totally phoned that one in right there. Come on, it's the pandemic. You're gonna look back at the figure and look at that's the COVID Elvira.
But like, don't they just have machines that just like do 3D scans and then they're like, bam, and they just have to paint them? I don't know. It just seems like it's a bummer.
Well, for her, it's tough also because she's like you said, she's been around forever. So
Yeah.
you know, you got to decide which era, you know, which decade are you going to choose to do? Even though she's so timeless and she looks terrific, unbelievable
So
for her.
They went with
age.
like the lazy eye era.
I'm thinking that's right. Somebody decided that was the best
Maybe
way to
like
go.
the cocaine era.
Exactly. Hey, I'm thinking it was WrestleMania 2 era. You guys remember?
the Playboy Mansion
Pulling
era.
that out,
She
yeah.
was guest
The Grotto
commentary.
era.
Yeah.
I think it was the Jesse Ventura version when she was co-commentary with Jesse the Body, and that's the one we got.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, I did
Right.
notice that, and I was like, ugh. But at least she has a figure, so that's good.
Yeah.
Maybe it looks
Yeah,
better
totally.
in person. Maybe it's just the photographs are wrong.
The angles, man.
That happens
Yeah.
to me all the time.
Same. Like sometimes I don't look that cute in pictures and I'm like, I think that's bad. That's wrong.
Exactly.
So.
I mean, it's all an instant, right? I mean, that figure might have moved. in a
I
weird
saw
way.
I saw a picture of you and you didn't look strong and I was like, did they Photoshop it?
I know.
Because
That happens to me all
he
the
looks
time.
really strong in person. It was
Thank
weird.
you.
Yeah, no problem.
People always say I'm much bigger in person than I look in the pictures.
They say the exact opposite for me. Oh, I thought you'd be taller. I thought you were taller. I'm like, well,
That's true. I met Ian. I was like, he's so petite.
yeah, he's tiny.
That's
He's cute.
probably why
He's
I
so
look
young.
big, because we're always side by side.
No, I know the picture of us all together.
That's why we hang out all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, come over here. Make me look huge.
Yeah. I'll get down on my knees like Dwarf. and fucking.
This is getting weird quick.
I
So
love it.
there's
Goes to Arnold.
What else is in the news? Fill me
There
in on
is an-
horror news.
there's an auction coming up. Did you see about this? E? There's a horror memorabilia auction.
I didn't.
And November 9th through 11th, and they're auctioning off some cool stuff from Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors, including Freddy's clothes, which is cool.
Mm.
And some other stuff.
The regular glove or the needle glove?
The needle glove. I think both, actually.
It's iconic.
And
right
they
there.
said last time they went between 27,000 a piece and 40,000.
Jesus Christ.
I know, right? There's some bigger horror fans than us. And then Halloween Resurrection, which is like whatever.
Yeah.
Stuff from that. But I kind of want to watch just to see how much they go for, because it seems like they would have, I mean, not so many, but probably like 50 sets from every movie. Like, are they all going to go for that much? I'm just waiting for my in, At one point, there has to be an in where the people who really want that are not really around, and I can just swoop in and, pay like a cool $200 for some, needle gloves that will sit in the windowsill.
Because they never really, you never know how many of these were created to make the movie. For example, today I was doing some research, right? I have my nephew wants to do Halloween with me this year. Me and my wife, she's going to be Sarah Connor. I'm going to try to figure out how to do sort of a T2 look. I don't know how.
Nice.
But my nephew wants to be little John Connor from T2. So I started looking up on the internet there. I want to find the Public Enemy t-shirt. And then I'm looking up, his military jacket. And I find an auction selling the actual goddamn camouflage jacket that John Connor.
Really?
And then I click on that. And I'm like, whoa. And it was a finished auction. It already sold for like 900 UK pounds. And I thought, that's kind of low, right? I mean, $1,000.
That's not that bad.
For John, I mean, that's iconic, right? T2, of all the Austroploitation films, that one's up there. So, but then I read the details. And it turns out this particular jacket was used in one tiny outtake scene. Even though it looked the same as used in the rest of the movie, but they had to specify. So with these gloves, it's the same thing with Freddy. All right, it's just the time that Freddy didn't show up and someone else, there was a hand model using it, you never know.
Yeah, that's what I wonder about, if it's the needles, because I mean, that was only in 2 scenes where he shows them and then where he sticks them in her arm.
God, I forgot about that.
Oh, you're talking about the syringes?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I forgot about that.
That would be cool.
Those
I
would
imagine they'd have more than 1 or 2.
That would be
for
one.
that, but
right.
It depends. I mean, that Apple Plus show that just filmed at my work, like I got to keep a bunch of the stuff that they didn't use, and there was some things they had like 30 to 50 copies of that never even got touched. Just in fucking
I guess it would
boxes
make
somewhere.
sense to have a bunch in case they break. You have like 4 or 5 pair, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
So
that's pretty cool.
who knows?
But the ones with the knives, the blades, there's got to be a few of those, right?
Yeah.
But the syringe one, I'm calling it now. There's only one of those.
Yeah.
One pair.
Maybe.
Because the blades, I mean, they were different in every movie.
Right.
His gloves, so.
He's always scraping them.
Mildly, but yeah.
He's got to replace.
Yeah, there was.
They got to be replaced. He's grinding them away on pipes and all that.
I mean, still one of the scenes from any fucking movie ever is, I think, the second one. Was it the second or the first where he does the dragging the cat?
Wait, the dragging.
Second, right?
I don't know what you're describing.
I think he calls it dragging the cat, where he drags the body all the way up the ceiling and all the way around.
Well, we did.
They revisit it.
Ceiling, that was
on the first one with the chick.
That was in the
Yeah,
first.
they revisit
Absolutely.
it in New Nightmare.
Yeah.
But that I think he calls it something weird, like dragging the cat. There's something he calls it like a game. But
Fucking
dude, I saw that when I was a kid, and I was just
Did you
fucked my head up.
guys exactly same here? I was watching it on a rental with my father very late at night. It had just come out. I forget how old I was. It was young. And I'm watching this goddamn movie. And in the first one, they really built up the concept where you start to be scared of falling to sleep. You know,
Oh yeah.
as a little kid, you're watching this late at night, you're thinking, fuck it, I'm staying up all night. So I'm watching it, and it's really that scene where they really get, remember how intense they get? They're like, don't fall asleep, don't.
Oh, yeah.
Right at that moment, behind me, my father on the couch,
Oh.
he fell asleep.
And you're like, no.
I was so scared. I was like, oh my God, Freddy's gonna kill my father right now. God damn it, I was horrified. And the thing is, I couldn't decide if I should wake him up because my father's scary too. So it's like, am I scared?
your
Am I
poison.
more scared of Freddy killing my father or me shaking my father awake and seeing his reaction?
And your dad killing you.
No, totally.
Exactly. So I let him sleep.
no.
I said, screw it.
He's
Yeah.
a big guy. He
Sweet
can handle
dreams.
himself. What?
Yeah. No, and that's one of the great things I think about the premise of that movie is like I started watching scary movies when I was super young. I'd stay up late and, watch stuff like Hounds of Baskerville and, whatever was on late at night and into some of the newer horrors. And it was funny because, I'd watch these scary movies. I would sometimes not even make it halfway through them and be like, I got to go to sleep. Like, please go to sleep. This is too scary. Force myself to go to sleep. And then I see Nightmare on Elm Street and I'm like, I can't go to sleep. I can't go to sleep. Oh my, I don't want to watch the rest of it, but I can't go to sleep. And it totally
Have you
flipped the
guys,
script.
have you guys done Nightmare on Elm Street yet?
We haven't.
Months ago.
Oh,
We haven't.
really?
Why didn't we do that
Oh.
instead of Vamp? Come on.
Well,
Redo.
maybe you're going to have to come
recording.
back and we're going to have to do like an episode of the first three.
We'll come back. For
Yeah, I'm
that.
down.
And do the whole
It's-
trilogy. Maybe
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
even write a song about the trilogy right there and perform it with my band. It'll be terrific.
That would be great.
ARNOCORPS goes spooky.
Well,
It
then you
is
would definitely
October.
need a keyboardist.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey,
That's
I'll
not
tell
what
you later.
really. That's what I do. That's what I do. Boop, boop, boop,
You're like,
boop. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
exactly.
definitely my style of keyboarding.
like
We've been
who was
talking
it?
about keyboards in ARNOCORPS.
What was it?
Some-
Li-
a
Linus
special event, in
from
fact.
Peanuts? Is it Linus the one that plays the fucking
Piano
piano?
player.
Yeah, you
Okay,
mean the
this
most
is-
superior of the Peanuts characters? Yeah,
he
it's
was.
Linus.
He was that guy got all the babes.
He was the magic fingers. Oobzilla has magic fingers.
Everybody knew.
Perhaps I do. E. Perhaps I do.
Indeed.
I got baby hands and little tiny hands.
Little tiny baby hands.
They are. It's sad. If you watch me hit an octave, I have to like jump my fingers.
Just get
This-
different hands for when you play.
This whole conversation could go so wrong right now. I'm just
It
stepping
could.
back
It
and
could.
saying, "All right, time to move forward."
No,
we'll
when-
revisit this later when Oobzilla has a little more wine in her, and I'll bring back
No,
up. the
when my
fingers.
husband bought my engagement ring, he bought it for my grandmother who worked at a jewelry store, and she didn't believe him when he said my ring size was 4. And she's like, "No, that's a child's ring size." And he's like, "That's what Courtney told me." And
I
so
misheard. It
he
sounded
got-
like you
got me
said
this
he
giant
bought it.
ring.
He bought it for your grandmother.
Oh no,
What's
that would be
going on?
great. Though
That's weird.
that would be awesome.
What's going on?
It's a wild
Yeah.
family over there.
I
wild,
I
it's
come from
crazy.
I come from a Southern family, so things are a little bit different when your mom's side's from Florida. I'll tell you about it later.
I can imagine. Also, in the sequel, we'll come back. Any more news? Any more horror news?
You got anything
You
else?
s- I have
one
one-
thing, yeah. But
I
you
only have
good.
one small other thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we could trade off or you want me to finish.
No.
So
Finish.
John Logan, who was a writer for Skyfall and Penny Dreadful, he's doing his directorial debut. And this goes with my pro LGBTQIA thing. I think that this premise could be fucking awesome. It's actually going to be on Peacock, which one of your band members just posted about having some free shit. Anyways, it's a movie and a horror movie that's going to take place at a gay conversion camp and be a complete slasher, allegedly. But what intrigued me more, like I think it could be really cool. A couple of my favorite comedies go on that route, but the cast. So Kevin Bacon is the lead.
I
in
heard
it.
about this. Right.
But then another name that came up that I haven't heard forever is Anna Chlumsky, the girl from My Girl.
Oh, the one that let
song?
Macaulay Culkin die of bee stings.
Yeah, that movie. Talk about something you shouldn't watch as a child. Fuck that
Right?
stupid piece of shit movie. I hate that.
Does
And the
it
pointless
sound like
sequel.
it was a sequel to Home Alone right there?
No.
No.
I mean, it could have been. Yeah. The bees came after Macaulay after they were revenging the robbers. But
Holy shit.
but
The bee
at
bandits.
first, yes, exactly. Joe Pesci hired a bunch of bees.
Like, hey, bees, you want to do me a favor?
Hey, bada bing.
Hey, we're
We need to make some-
Italians. You bees
Yeah.
Italian, you look Italian.
Buzz, 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 buzz. Oh, buzz. Yeah.
Hey,
We need to do at least one impression and piss someone off every time.
apparently,
But
it's
anyways,
apparently we've decided on Italians.
well, I mean, we fucked with the French last time too.
French and Italians. They're like, hey, we're bees. We are bees. So
Buzz,
Perfect.
smoking the cigarettes. Anyways,
fucking French bees.
But I'm curious about it. I think it could be awesome if done in the right way.
Could be.
And fuck weirdo gay conversion camps. The whole thought of them just is the most ridiculous thing in the world.
Freaky.
But it's so just gross. It's gross.
Well, perfect premise for a horror movie then.
Exactly.
More.
So what's your
perfect.
news?
We'll see. All right. So the only thing that I have, and I found this on Bloody Disgusting, that there's a documentary called Pennywise, the Story of It, that is complete and headed to a film festival. And that would be cool because apparently, dives real deep into the true stories behind the clown that terrified a generation.
Holy shit. True stories.
Yeah, it says it has
Yeah.
with over 50 interviews with cast and crew and over 700 never before seen photos from the production.
And you're talking about the original
Yep,
Yeah.
February
series
one,
here.
yeah, the miniseries.
Alright.
So that will be
So
cool.
like
Ballsy.
so I used to it was before I had a remote control, but I had a TV in my room, but it had like the little cable box with just like the up and down arrows.
Mhm.
Whoa, you had
And-
cable in there?
Yeah, I did.
I was
Fancy.
pumped when I had a beta VCR.
Actually,
we used to-
same. When I got
we
my
used to
VCR,
get
I was
cable.
psyched.
Steal it from my neighbors, or not steal it? They knew,
Mhm.
but the lines
Yeah.
crossed
the line splitter.
Yeah.
that the people put in, that the
Absolutely.
cable guy put in,
Mm-hmm.
it crossed some lines, so we would get it too. I was so
Yeah.
bummed whenever they got rid of cable next door. No more Bruce Lee movies. I was pissed.
Damn it.
Oh,
Unbelievable.
but like that mini series was coming out, so my parents were like, because I don't know why they weren't smarter. And like my mom, like, we're gonna watch a romantic whatever, and then I'd been like, whatever, I don't fucking care. But instead, we're having dinner, and they'd tell the kids like, hey, so there's this scary movie that's coming out, miniseries that we're gonna watch. So we don't want you guys downstairs. Go to your rooms. So of course, what are you gonna do?
You gotta see
You're
what
gonna-
that is.
You're gonna watch it. So when I used to watch things I wasn't supposed to, I like would sit on the edge of my bed and have to lean over to like keep my hand on the like channel changer box in case like my mom walked in, so I could just be
Right.
like, oh, I'm just looking
Watching
through the
cartoons,
channels.
Mom.
So
You
I
had to
remember
be
like
at the ready.
yeah. So I remember like I was watching it and flipping through, and then I heard like somebody get up to go to the bathroom. So like I turned it off the movie and was like, okay, maybe this is getting scary. Like I shouldn't watch it. But then I was like, well, I mean, I should. So in case they talk about it, tomorrow I could, feel adult and be part of their conversation, whatever. So anyways, at that point, I like turned it back, and it was the part where Tim Curry has his mouth completely open, that like one scene that's just like his face and the teeth. And I swear to fucking God, there has not been much else in my life that has ever scared me more than that. I immediately like turned the TV off, didn't even like turn cartoons on or anything, and like jumped under the covers. And I remember I was so young, I don't even remember what year it came out, that I was thinking like, this clown's gonna fucking kill my parents. Should I go down there? Should I warn them? No. Like, I'm gonna stay here. Like, should I go get my brothers? Like, this is fucked up. Like, totally believing that somehow that this thing on the TV could be a real thing.
Absolutely.
And
that was the magic back then. I mean,
they all survived.
Hey, somehow. Yeah. And we're totally normal, right? We grew up totally normal.
And I wasn't brave enough to save them either. I just fucking went to bed.
We grew up with having a healthy suspicion of everything.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. And still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Stuff happens that other younger people think are normal. And I'm like, no. Did you listen to how they said that?
No. So basically what we're saying is we grew up smarter and now we're more intelligent. And,
although I remember really early on, my favorite TV show was The Monkees.
I loved The Monkees.
And
way better than the Beatles.
Way better.
Yeah.
And the opening song, they made a promise right in the song that they're coming to your town.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to go wait out front of my house.
Oh.
And I remember, I always remember when my mother came out there, Holzfeuer, what are you doing out here? I said, I'm waiting for the Monkees. And she said, why are you waiting for the Monkees? I said, because the TV said they were coming to our town.
Oh my God. I picture like a 6 foot tall 7-year-old in bell bottoms waiting for the Monkees to show up.
I wasn't tall until I was a late bloomer. Let me tell you, as a kid, that was average.
He was only 5'9" at 7. Give him a break.
Okay.
Although at 7, I admit my voice changed and they kicked me out of the Vienna Boys Choir. Come on!
Hey!
Oh.
But I was there long enough to get my vocal chops.
I still love the Monkees. It's part of my driving to work playlist.
Same here.
Like I hate the Beatles. Like I hate the Beatles, and the Monkees are so much better. And people try and argue with me on that. And I'm like, well, you're wrong. The fucking Monkees are so much better
going on there.
Like everything about them. They got more soul. They got more rock in them.
They were almost like a live action Scooby-Doo too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, totally. Completely. That show was so much fun.
They were
so
a rescue team. That's why when my band came together, I knew the bar that was set. So every time we go out there, I'm like, come on, guys, remember we're a rescue team. So even for a short period of time, ARNOCORPS lived in the house together. It was important. That's an influence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Beatles.
No, I love those guys. I have an ironic Beatles tattoo, right?
I don't.
Come on. How can
my whole right calf is a 6-shooter that says happiness is a warm gun, bang bang, shoot.
Holy shit.
Wah, wah.
I think you need to get a Monkees tattoo now.
Hey, John Lennon.
Oh yeah, I totally could. Yeah,
they just came out with something new. I think a new record.
I liked it. Have you listened? I didn't want to listen because I thought I didn't want to listen because I thought it was going to be shit, and it is exactly like they've always sounded. Like it's
awesome.
It's really fucking fun. It's really silly, and I loved it. It's good. Like if you put on a playlist with old and new, you wouldn't even.
That's cool.
Pick it out.
Daydream Believer.
It sounds like them.
You know, is
you
better than any fucking Beatles song.
Hey, can I make a request for the Memphis Murder Men?
Yes.
To cover Daydream Believer.
Hey, come on.
It would be so fantastic.
It was a dream on. Yeah.
I mean, it's so good. And Last Train to Clarksville.
Yep,
that's actual.
Better.
I mean, how could you make such a fun sounding song about something that's so fucking sad?
Last Train.
Which is like, I think why I love the Monkees, because like the Beatles were that like self-loathing, trying to make you depressed and look at the world in a way. The Monkees talked about that shit, but they still made it sound happy. So like, even if shit was going down, you were partying, you wanted a tambourine, you know, it was fun. And I appreciate that kind of music.
The Beatles were the poor man's version of the Monkees.
No.
Hey
guys, the Beatles were just the emo kids of the 60s.
They were like, I always try to explain this to people, and they were like, why do you hate the Beatles? I'm like, because they had except George Harrison. George Harrison was pretty rad.
I don't even think that they're similar. Like, I wouldn't even put them in the same.
But like, okay,
why?
So
why associate them with each other?
Because that's what the Monkees were somewhat inspired by when they put together the television show.
Yeah,
but I'm thinking this needs to be the Monster Monkey podcast right now.
There you go.
We're gonna change gears.
The fucking Beatles. It's like they had all the right influences. Mm-hmm. John Lennon, fucking George Harrison, they all love Little Richard, fucking Elvis, Chuck Berry. Like they had all this good shit that you're like, oh man, you're gonna sound awesome. And then they took all the rock and roll out, like all the ballsiness out of those guys. And then that's what they did. They're like, how can we make music that's not ballsy at all? Like the stuff we're into, but kind of sounds like it a little bit. And then
they knew something. They knew something because look at the success that they had and the longevity and all that in terms of course, the band wasn't around long, but everybody still talks about them.
Yeah. As a teenager and through my young adult
psyops
years, like through my teenage and young adult years, I definitely hated them. As I got older, like I can appreciate some songs. I think they're great musicians. It's definitely not me or, you know, what I like. I think a lot of it's really depressing, but the Monkees, I think, took that kind of boy band-ish package that the Beatles originally kind of went with and had fun with it, because they are really boy bands of the 60s and 70s.
Everything they did was fun though, like, and there was a lot of energy. The Beatles had no energy. They're like,
well, no, if you watch some of the stuff, the Beatles were fun in the beginning and for a little bit.
Well,
and
when they were the Silver Beatles, when they were just covering
and even when they were the first few years of the Beatles, they were, and then as they got older and were into drugs and everything else, they got way artsier. But the like core kind of original Beatles, I can see where the Monkees took that and then we're like, we're gonna be fucking awesome and have fun.
Like we're gonna take that. See, like I was talking about on the last episode,
people take things too seriously.
They took a shitty thing and made it good, which is what Hollywood should be doing with remakes nowadays, not taking the good thing and making it shittier.
Yeah, sure. But, you know, the world.
Beatles. I hate the
dumb
Beatles.
people.
The Beatles and David Bowie. I'll fight both of them.
Okay, you need to shut the fuck up about David Bowie.
Dead or alive, I'll fight them. All 5 or 6 of them. Well, George Harrison was cool. Harrison's solo stuff, so much better than anything the Beatles ever did.
I just want to dig into Grace Jones. That's what I'm here for.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's get back to okay, everyone. That was
exactly. And I could have brought news, but nobody told me to.
Yeah, see,
you are the news.
Next time,
I prepped my guest. Good job.
Yeah. He told me, hey, you got Zoom on your computer? All right. That was my prep.
That's it.
And he told you to bring a belt.
Yep.
Zoom and a belt.
He didn't. That
The
was my
important
own,
things.
That was my insight. I knew, just in
Yeah.
case. But I had it behind me, and then you told E, "Hey, get your belt." But
Right.
I took
And
that
then you
as a
had
cue.
yours.
I was like, "Hey, is this the belt?"
Next
party going
time,
on here?
we got to get
Yeah.
Oobzilla a belt.
And just in
It
case,
says Oobzilla.
just
I
in
know I
case
need a
there's-
belt.
There's
And
your
it
belt.
needs
Absolutely.
it needs my Godzilla on it.
Yep.
In case there's anybody out there, ARNOCORPS listeners tuning in, and they're wondering what happened to Holzfeuer. Why isn't he screaming? Why isn't he yelling? Well, it's because Oobzilla told me to shut the fuck up because I was peaking my levels. And just to
I don't-
demonstrate, just to prove it. All right, go! Was it peaking or what, right? Peaking, big time.
Yeah.
Zoom.
Or did I
Zoom
fix
was
it?
like,
Imagine-
can't handle it. Zoom can't handle
Zoom
it.
in
No.
on that. Zoom in.
Zoom's trying to mute you.
Zoom in on there. All right. That's usually what I do when I'm flexing. Zoom in.
Look at this. Look at that.
All
vein.
right.
All right. On that note, let's get into.
You want to read the synopsis?
Yeah, 1986's Vamp,
Bam.
directed by Richard Wank.
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 Sorry, I can't. I can't help it. Sorry. Damn it.
He's a real wanker.
Ugh,
So two
I
fraternity
hate
pledges
myself.
go to a sleazy bar looking for strippers to entertain their college friends. They have problems with transportation, biker gangs, and worst of all, the staff of the bar, all of whom seem to be vampires, with Grace Jones playing the head vampire.
Okay, look at that.
The biker gang, there wasn't really a biker gang in it. There was
No.
an albino gang that drove in a
Yeah,
hearse,
right.
but
Yeah.
Right.
which
There
was always
no-
weird to me. That was
They didn't have motorcycles. Well, they were just these choir boys.
Fucking
roaming
Billy
around.
Drago too.
And
Yeah.
they got their ass beat by, they didn't realize in that scene they were messing with the leader of the Daggers, right? I mean, if they only knew.
they only fucking knew. Yeah, that,
Godzilla, do you know what I'm talking about? As the
I do.
leader of the Daggers, right? Just like the
I
guys in
do.
Thrashing.
There you go.
Even though I'm a bigger fan of Robert
Rad.
Wrestler. No, Weird
Rad.
Science, big
Yes.
time. I mean, in that he was Max, Mad Max. Yeah, we're right in there with Iron Man, right?
yep.
hmm
His best buddy.
Yeah.
So let's not get sidelined with the talk and the discussion of the various gangs here.
Or
With,
not
with
gangs, or
Vamp,
whatever they were.
the core. I mean, was this movie like, did they luck out and they landed Grace Jones, or was this a Grace Jones vehicle? I
It
don't
was
know the
supposed to be
backstory.
Tina Turner,
Whoa!
or they approached her first.
Holy shit! There you go.
It wouldn't have been. The role wouldn't have been as great if Tina Turner was. in
No.
it, though. Grace
No,
Jones.
because she
Oh.
would have had lines. Grace
Exactly.
Jones
Yeah.
actually asked to have no lines
Yeah,
I heard that.
like the
because
whole
she's such a weirdo.
like the whole Max Shrek thing. She wanted to do the Nosferatu angle, which worked.
Right.
She's
Well, it's also now known as the Nicolas Cage thing.
or that.
So
Yeah.
we have to mention him in every episode. So it's a very
Nicholas Cage.
um
He's co-opted
yeah, it's a
it,
very it's a very Nick Cage, a current Nick Cage thing.
but, dude. So
Well, she was coming into this movie of obviously riding the success of her exposure in Conan the Destroyer, right? Big time
Of course.
Got to be.
astroploitation film with Wilt Chamberlain and all that. And you had Grace Jones
Wilt
in there.
Distill.
She was much more muscular in that one. So she,
Yeah.
reduced the definition coming into Vamp. I think she decided, hey, I want to come off maybe a little more feminine, maybe less barbarian.
So
What do you think? What do you guys think?
It probably is the most feminine I've
Yeah.
seen her.
fucking
And
crazy.
I
feminine,
well, I have
Absolutely.
dude, but I love the first scene because I mean, you go or the first scene in the strip club that she shows up at, the costumes are great. It's so awesomely 80s. And even all the
crazy.
strippers are great. And then
Everything
she
about
comes
that
on
movie.
and it's just super, her striptease is so weird.
It's
And it
crazy.
was
It's
funny
Grace
because
Jones.
she, well, totally. It's so Grace Jones. But so the throne thing she's sitting on,
Mhm.
I didn't know, but when I was just doing research, it was actually a cast of My Secret Husband, Dolph Lundgren.
Dolph, she was with that guy for a while.
Yeah, so she was dating him at the time, and that's actually a body cast of him that she was sitting and dancing on, which is
Look at that.
makes me want
Pretty
to
awesome.
watch the movie again.
Right.
There you go.
Just
So
kidding.
so on the DVD I have of this in the special features, they show her doing a read through of the scene where she kills AJ in the back, and she's doing the whole thing, except she's doing it to Richard Wank. Wank.
Wank.
It's an E. You know E. E.
Wank.
Bank.
I mean, it's like 0 or 10 with Grace Jones. Even doing that,
Yeah.
I mean, she went like, she was like, did the whole thing, lift his shirt up, because they're like trying to get the right camera angles. Like, okay,
Right.
maybe I want it to come.
They're
together
just
in the
mapping the scene.
right, but she's like all in, licking his stomach, fucking actually biting him, which she actually did bite. What's his nuts? Robert, was it Russier? AJ, she actually did bite him when she fucking poked through his prosthetic on his neck. So
that's what I like about her, though, because
Oh,
I was thinking about her as sort of this iconic persona of the era, right? She's coming out of
Totally.
late 70s with the whole art scene, with her modeling and music. I mean, she's put out tons of albums and all that. But when she puts herself into a performance, you can tell that it's not phony for her. No matter what she's doing, it's
she's all in.
It's sincere, and that comes across. But
I don't think Tina Turner could have done it like that.
No, not even close.
She would have been like, "You're putting me in whiteface, like and blue eye, like what the fuck?" She would have like she would have just made it super sexy and not as weird. Like Grace it's so good at just making it weird.
But still,
then I started to
at
wonder.
the same time.
I started thinking, has she ever been in the movie where she is portraying a normal human being? Has she ever done that?
So that's what, when I was watching it today, I was trying to think, because I've always loved pretty much everything she's done, and I had never seen this. And I was trying to think of something she did where she was just normal. Like I remember as a kid loving her because she did that androgynous thing so much better than like Annie Lennox and some of the other people that were trying to do it. And she was so masculine in such a feminine way. Like she's like an incredibly captivating person. And this is a great example. Like this is a cheesy as fuck. This is like Porky's. This is a cheesy movie, but every scene that she's in,
it's intense.
Despite how weird it is, like she is totally serious. She controls it. It's, artistic. Apparently the budget was so low. She had a bunch of her friends give her clothes for it. Her body and that Dolph Lundgren cast was painted by a famous like graffiti artist who had passed. Like she got all these people to kind of come in and help the movie to make it what she did. And it's funny because within this super cheesy movie, there is this really intense artistic Grace Jones music video.
She's the Nicolas Cage before Nicolas Cage of like, you know what?
Except for I think Grace she has Jones. A little more integrity.
Right. But you're going to get Grace Jones no matter what.
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
Yeah, I was thinking if there was a movie where she shows up and she's totally believable as a normal human, I would think that's a fantastic actress right there.
I don't think
pull
so.
off being normal. Because
could you picture her as like a pregnant housewife, like cooking, chicken on the stove or something, being like, "Hey, honey, it's nice to see you." Yeah,
exactly. But it was terrific. But
that'd be so weird to see her like that, though.
I know it'd be awesome. No, as I thought that earlier when I was watching it, I was like, God, I wish she would just take a role, like do something like that because it would just be fucking crazy
It would be too
to have seen
challenging.
it.
But
Yeah.
She'd have to turn herself down, and I don't
And
think
then
she could.
and then I realized, as a fan of hers, I've definitely seen her sing. I don't know that I've ever heard her talk.
I've heard some interviews,
I don't know
like
if I
the
have.
Tonight Show and stuff like that, but not a lot of
I
talking.
don't remember.
And she's still like Elvira, like drop dead, fucking crazy
Mhm.
gorgeous. Like if you
I
look at
saw-
pictures of her now, she's been wearing these like velvet hooded capes and like
She very
super
recently got completely
vampy
naked
makeup.
on stage, and she had
Yeah.
body paint similar
I love
from
that.
Vamp.
Yeah.
So
Huh.
she's
Yeah.
even bringing, harking back to Vamp right now. And how old
Yeah.
is she? In her 70s, right?
127, probably. I don't know.
How many centuries?
no. Let me see.
Because she's a vampire, turns
Right?
out, for real.
She is actually
She's-
a vampire.
She's 73 years old.
73.
Yeah.
Ballsy.
She was born 48. That is ballsy.
She's a very
And-
ballsy lady. And I was
And
thinking too,
Dolph Lundgren is 63.
I was thinking about how, at that time she became this very, she was a huge celebrity, but
Yeah.
no one quite knew why. Like, at least I didn't as a kid. She was just sort of this persona that was famous. It was just a celebrity, right? Just a famous person. But I was thinking, I was watching Vamp. At least she had a vision, right? She had talent and all this artistic stuff going on. She was expressive. Compared to nowadays, we still have these types of celebrities that are just famous for being famous, but they're all plastic and bullshit, and there's nothing behind it. Like the Kardashian type of shit, right? So
Yeah.
I was thinking
Yeah.
about how back then that still was a thing, but you had, in a way, she paid her dues in a different way. And she was a true artist, even though not in a conventional way.
It's probably, she was a model, and then
Right.
but yeah, she got real famous for being unconventional as
Right.
far as your typical, Hollywood movie star.
Which is kind of cool because in a weird way, her art project became herself.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
That's pretty rad. The whole movie was super cheesy. It was like Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Vamp or in Fright Night
Mm-hmm.
put together, But there was one thing I was wondering if Robert Rodriguez, or I guess Quentin Tarantino, and Robert Kurtzman, who I didn't know was a writer on From Dusk Till Dawn,
Right.
how much this movie influenced that, because
So
Like
I've
her
read
bars.
about that a little bit. Yeah.
Right.
I could see it a little bit, but I think that they're just so different. at
they
the
are
same
different.
time.
Just the scene, just the setting.
The thematic
Yeah.
elements are there.
Yeah.
The strip club, right?
Vampire
and the
strip club.
vampires and the two dudes.
Yep.
Speaking of the two dudes, we already talked about Robert Ressler. This other
Mhm.
guy, I gotta tell you something. I saw him on screen. I was like, holy shit. If you took a young Mel Gibson, right? And
Mhm.
also took a young Rick Moranis and you combined them
Totally.
50-50, you would get this
Totally.
guy. And I've been freaking out of this. I'm like, that is Rick Moranis and Mel Gibson. How do you do that? That's
So
like
you-
art. That's more artistic than Grace Jones right there. So
So
applaud
he
that
was
guy.
he was in Meatballs. I
Mhm.
don't know if you ever saw that, but then
Meatballs
the-
2 got weird with the alien, but whatever.
the better movie he was in, do you guys remember Mazes and Monsters?
Never saw that.
It was like the after school special with Tom Hanks about how Dungeons and Dragons makes you a Satan worshiper.
Hey,
No.
that sounds terrific.
Oh my God. Have you guys not seen this?
I
You need to
look-
watch it.
What's it called again?
Mazes and Monsters. It came out the
Mazes
year I
and
was born, 1982. And
This is
Tom Hanks was the
terrific.
main character. And it was an after school special, literally about how Dungeons and Dragons basically,
I have to
will
look that
ruin
up
your
now.
life.
That sounds terrific.
Oh, it's
around
great.
82.
It's so
Dungeons
great.
and
It's
Dragons-
aged so well. It's
That
aged
shit
really
was getting
well.
crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, and anyone listening, if you haven't seen it, give that a watch. It's totally worth it. But so my favorite actor is actually, or one of my favorite actors is in this movie, except for it's only his voice. Do you guys know who it is?
Who's that?
Only his voice.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
So
there
it's on
just
a
being
radio,
voice.
huh?
No.
No?
Well, kind of, yeah.
Trying to remember. Just a voiceover.
So in the
Or someone
opening
behind it.
scene,
Or
in
someone
the
Oh.
in a
opening
costume.
scene,
Right.
hmm do you guys know who did the voice in the hanging fraternity scene?
Who did?
Oh, the opening
Mr.
scene.
Edelweiss himself, Christopher Plummer.
Hey, one of the first astroploitations right there.
Yeah,
Edelweiss.
exactly.
Yeah.
And King Pagan from Dragnet. You know,
That's wild. That's crazy.
yeah.
And
so,
you know, we can't forget about Long Duck Dong, right? I mean, this guy, he almost stole the show. I mean, this
I
movie,
forget, yeah.
when you step back, it really
I
has
can't believe
it
I'd
all.
never seen it. Yeah, it does.
I know.
I
it's crazy.
forget how to pronounce his real name. But we'll just say Duncan,
Getty.
or we'll call him the Donger.
I think it's Getty.
Is my favorite fucking character in this movie.
He's terrific.
He pulls everything together in this movie.
Yeah.
And
What was the song he started singing?
I'm
He's in the mood for love because they're naked.
Simply because you're naked.
I was like,
Yep.
hey, come on.
He's got the best line in the whole movie, which has got to be one of my favorite scenes, which is when they're in the cafe when they get there. And first of all, the comedic timing in this movie is fucking tits.
It is pretty good.
It's so good between all of them. Like they're having that discussion about, well, what constitutes after dark? And they're going through this whole thing. And then he goes to the bathroom and the albino gang comes in and they go through all that thing. He pops out for a second. He's like, hey, these pipes are tough. I'm going to go back in there. So he comes back and fucking AJ takes care of it and they leave. And he's like, oh man, he's just like going on about how rad that was. And he's like, hey, messing with my buddies, huh? Wham! Right in the tchotchkes. Like that fucking line cracks me the fuck up.
Yeah, there's some
he
good
was
stuff
funny.
in there. This movie's weird though because you get a sense that it had potential to be a hit. Like everything's kind of there. I think it suffers from a few things. One, possibly the editing. Like there's some
It came
weird
out the
stuff.
same year as Aliens and all the other movies
Right.
you named too.
There's also that, right? But also I noticed the score, which of course has a huge impact on how you perceive a movie. The score was so weird. Like I had to watch it again. I'm like, what's wrong with this movie? Like there's so much right, but there's so much wrong. But I couldn't figure out what is wrong. But I noticed, for example, in the scene when AJ goes backstage and he wants to hire Grace Jones. And then he thinks, coming on to him, puts him on his back on the bed and starts doing all that. The music is doing that weird, like 80s synthy, like suspenseful. But then, like when she turns into the monster and starts chewing his neck out, the music didn't change. It stayed that weird.
I noticed that too, and it was so
I'm
funny.
like, what the fuck is going on?
Her face changed, and she has these claws, and she's like screaming to the sky, and it's
And the
still like,
music is still- right? Yeah, like the 80s kind of setting the scene.
Yeah.
Dude, this movie was fucking just like 80s decadence. One of my favorite things about it is the lighting, the pinks
The
and the
lighting's cool.
greens and the fucking reds and the blues, like just
The lighting's
100%
great.
what you think when you think of 80s, like this back here.
I was about to
80s.
say that, like your background.
Yeah.
You look
Hey.
like you're in Vamp right now.
Where's
My
Grace
favorite
Jones?
was like the costumes of the girl, the cocktail waitress.
Oh,
Right.
That goes through
She's
the whole
cool.
thing. Like her
which I
style,
did
her
BB
outfit,
Pfeiffer.
like
Which-
every scene she's in, I'm like, God, I want to wear that damn it,
I
I need to
didn't-
cut my
I
hair like
just
that.
found
God, I love
out.
her so much.
Listening to the fucking commentary that she's Michelle Pfeiffer's sister.
Right.
Oh,
Phoebe
really?
Pfeiffer.
Yeah,
She's so adorable.
right. And I mean,
I loved her.
she's been in a bunch of shit all through the '80s, but I
Huh.
never knew that was Michelle Pfeiffer's sister, which
Yeah.
goes
Yeah,
back
she
to
was
what I'm
good.
saying, that Hollywood is just full of lizard people that all know each other and they just get their family and friends in.
Had to throw in the lizard
Dude,
people.
I will talk about lizard people all day long.
Gotta get that adrenochrome.
But yeah,
Brings
but
that
she was
baby
awesome in
blood.
it too.
She was really good. And I felt like, I looked up this director and he basically put directing behind him.
Wank.
But he's heavily into writing. He still writes, like he wrote The Expendables 2.
Mhm.
with
Oh, I
Dolph
love that
Lundgren in
movie.
there. And he's
I
written
love
a
Dolph
bunch of
Lundgren.
stuff. And
The Equalizer.
but then it got me thinking.
Did you love
Thinking
Universal
about-
Soldier too? That's like
I-
prime Dolph Lundgren.
No, so this is true. Like Dolph Lundgren, since I was a child, was literally like, when you're a kid and you're like, I want to marry so and so. So mine were Dolph Lundgren and Kiefer Sutherland, but mainly
I could
Dolph
dig it.
Lundgren.
I mean, and he's a fucking scientist or
Well,
an
that's
engineer.
the thing too. As I've become an adult, it's kind of sealed the deal that I would still
Right?
totally be. Yeah,
He's in shape. He's a
He's
martial
still in
artist,
really good shape.
he's
too.
also
plays
like
drums.
a professional dancer.
He's a
right?
good guy.
And he's a
very good.
musician, can play the drums,
Yeah, and
God
he's
damn.
just like he's a babe.
right?
He's still a babe.
He's
So.
he's a universal soldier. So
Yeah. And I just
my
feel like,
point-
we would be friends.
There's a crazy
and
tangent right
and
there.
Oobzilla's a no limit soldier. So
I was talking about the director, and now
Yeah. And if we ever
I
had
was just
kids, I
saying,
mean,
maybe-
I'm getting older now, so I might not be able to bear it for very much longer. But I mean, the eyes and the cheekbones, like I feel like, as far as breeding a superior sort of being,
to
Dolph
fight the
and I
lizard
would
people.
definitely, yeah, we could make an army. The world would be a better place. I'd do my service.
So Dolph Lundgren, if you're out there listening,
Yeah.
know,
If you'd like, I don't want
and
to
Dolph.
I don't want to procreate really, but I would definitely sleep with you and also donate eggs so we could have test tube babies to take
I mean,
over the world.
if it's for the good of all mankind, then you kind of got to.
No, I'm not getting pregnant, but I'll make sure that we're compatible first and then donate some eggs.
You'll practice a little bit and then
Right.
go from there.
Yep, exactly.
I got
Right.
it. Yeah.
Moving on.
So anyway, the writer and director,
Yeah. Wank.
Wank.
Yeah, I think he wrote. I don't know. He wrote this movie, right? And
But
he
wait.
directed it,
He wrote the Magnificent Seven too.
right? Yeah, he's written a lot. But I think in the directing role, he found himself probably not able to execute his vision completely because it's a different skill set. So I think that's why he changed his career after this. Because if you look at this movie, it's all there. It could have been right up there with one of those movies that people think of in 1986, on that list. All right, Stand By Me, Vamp, right? Nobody says that.
No,
But
they
it could
don't.
have been if maybe it was a different director, I think, because the story was compelling, right? And there was a lot of layers.
It was a lot of layers.
Yeah.
It was
I
maybe
mean-
more complicated than it needed to be.
You know what I just realized? I know why this movie didn't make it as big as it could have. There were no montages
It
with
could have used a
awesome-
montage.
with awesome music. If they
There's
would have
good
had a
chase
couple
scene, though.
there is, but if they would have had some
The
Eye
Fright
of the
Night.
Tiger level songs with some montages, amping up for that end scene, I think that's what it needed.
Could have helped. Let me tell you.
I think so.
I
It
think
could have been the main guy and that girl working out, maybe running through the tunnels a little bit before the vampire, banging, going shopping, just like a regular 80s montage thing with
Absolutely.
a badass song.
I gotta tell you though, so talking about the plot. There's one plot hole that maybe you could shed some insight.
There's a couple. but
Okay, there's more. So
mean-
the first
I just actually gurgled the wine because that made
well, here's the fierce one, right? All right, the premise, right? The opening of the movie. You got these two guys that want to get into this fraternity, right? But then you quickly find out they're not typical frat guys. They don't really want to be in a fraternity. They want to use the frat house.
Mhm.
They're trying to get in. And so they stopped with the initiation. There's, this is bullshit. We want what you got. And this is what we're going to bring to the table. We're going to throw some ballsy parties. We're going to bring strippers. It's going to be fantastic. Let's work out a deal, right? All right, fine. I accept that completely. Then they have this mission. They're like, oh, now we need a car. Oh, let's talk to Duncan, AKA
The donger.
the Donger.
the donger.
And he's got this spread all to himself. And he's clearly super rich. He's got computers. He's got the internet before the internet. Like this guy's got everything.
He's Asian and it's the 80s. So yes.
Whoa.
of course.
And-
Wait. Did you guys hear that?
In the 80s movies, come on. In the Goonies. Come on, even in the Goonies, Data has all this shit.
I'm saying, did you guys hear that? There was a gong, or someone hit something and it went boom.
Oh no!
As you were talking about the donger.
No, I was like, what did I say? That wasn't even bad.
I hope it's in there because it was fucking weird. I was like someone hit a bar and it was like boom.
Oh, okay,
what
good.
the fuck is that? But
I hope that's
I was like,
Added
is
in
that?
post.
I was like,
Added in post.
that's where I went too far. God.
No.
All right. But all right. So as I was saying, they meet this guy who's got everything that they could ever want. So this would have been more perfect place for them to get their whole business going at Duncan's house instead of the frat house.
Yeah.
That ruined the whole movie.
It fell apart after that. Wheels came off.
I'm never gonna watch it again because of
Well,
that. Unless E can explain it to me.
Well,
Explain it to me.
you want
because it
you
was
want E to explain something to you?
because it was a dorm. It was
Absolutely.
part of the dorms, so they couldn't. It was the suite in the dorms, so they couldn't. So they had to go to the fucking frat house.
Okay, because they really wanted
Okay.
out of the dorms.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're
Gotcha.
saying. So even though it was the penthouse,
Actually, that does really make sense. I didn't think he would come
Yeah.
up with something because I wasn't thinking of that, but
it wasn't clear to me. It was
wise old E just
So it is part of the dorms.
Yeah.
All right.
interesting.
And
At
they
I
least
didn't realize that
that's
either.
what it appears to be in the movie.
Okay, I thought it was it was a mansion.
No,
I think
like
that
the
you
penthouse.
you must
Like they
have
were
paid a lot more attention than I
yeah,
did.
like they were still on campus,
Okay.
whereas the
Mm.
frats is
Because I'm watching
Yeah.
this and I'm like, this is the guy. I'm gonna team up with this character. Because he's like,
Yeah,
hey,
totally.
I've got all this money and I want you guys to hang out and pretend
Mhm.
you're my friend. I'm like, hey, no problemo. Do that.
the donger is awesome. in
So
this
just
movie.
so you know, he can be bought.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm talking about you.
Who, me?
No.
Oh,
Everybody's got a price.
Well, I mean, everybody does have
Yeah,
a
I'm
for
price.
cheap.
the
I'm cheap
$1
as fuck.
million Holzfeuer.
Yeah. If you know
That's right.
somewhere with Belgian waffles or crepes, fucking blintzes, I can be bought.
Hey, it depends
me
on
You give me
depends
some
on
blintzes. all bets
context.
are off.
Context
course.
is everything. That's all I'm gonna say. If I was in college and I was trying to run an operation like those two dickweeds, of course I would do it.
Oh, of course. So my favorite part of the movie is when he finally finds his friend who has turned.
Yeah.
And after being a vampire for all of what, like 30 minutes, first he calls himself a zombie, then goes through every way that he could be killed and is like, it's all true, man. It's true. The sunlight, the stakes, everything. So I just want to know. And I would like
Except
Osmosis.
someone.
unless it's for Micah.
Oh,
Who knew?
anyways,
Yeah.
if
Would
somebody
stay.
listening to this like is getting into film or whatever and could just film a short movie about what transpired from the time he was bitten by Grace Jones and his friend found him, I would just really like to know, because it just seems like that like hot slutty 80s vampire that he was sucking face with like sat down with him with like a book and read him all the rules of everything,
Right.
but then for some reason he called himself a zombie for no reason.
Well,
And
The
it was-
Walking Dead.
Yeah,
Right.
So
no, he says I'm a fucking zombie man,
yeah,
doesn't he?
yeah.
I
But
feel
he's
like he
just-
uses the term zombie.
He's just referring to
Vampire.
himself as The
I
Walking
know,
Dead.
I
you
know, I know. But
what's
even
the
then, okay,
preferred
so
nomenclature here.
right. So past that, even then, where he's like knows how he gets killed, he literally has just been a vampire. Basically says he hasn't eaten yet, but would drain his friend dry because he can't be trusted. So he knows that because his friend's like, suck a little bit, you know, it's fine.
What a
Hold
friend.
yourself over.
Just put
But
your
he's
mouth
like-
on it. It's fine. Dude.
He's like, no, I can't be trusted. I need more than that. How does he know?
The way
One.
I
Because he's
thought
so
the same
hungry.
thing. I
So
was
hungry.
thinking that what happened was all the generations of vampires before. Once you become the vampire, you're part of that lineage now.
Oh, you gain the knowledge.
You
Right.
just know.
That's
it's in
the
your
way I
blood.
took it. Right. Passed down. Just like, you know,
So like in the
Wild
Fifth
animals.
Element, when Lilu like is in the pod and she like taps in and sees everything and learns every language.
right.
It's like that.
Sorta.
But
Bingo.
in like Vampire,
Total, it's like Total Recall.
I was gonna say, or like Total Recall, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I guess
And then they
I
pull
guess I
something out of
would've-
your nose.
my name
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
not quiet.
2 weeks.
Waro. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
That's
Yeah.
what happened. That's my theory. That
That's what I figured.
like osmosis.
Yeah. Or
So
it's just
you
like being
think
in a
that all
club
those
where they're
like
all right, you're one of us now. Here's the lowdown real quick. It's all true. He's like, fuck.
really?
it's all
So you
true.
think like Billy Drago and the girl with like one tooth were all like, I know everything?
No, but they weren't vampires. They were just albinos.
No, the one with one tooth was, because when they go down the fucking sewer, she's the one who shows up. Because remember, she's a vampire and then the caveman teeth. They
What?
are vampires.
No, they're not vampires. They're just albinos. That's why they get into the fight with the vampires when they show up, and they're all
No,
the
but what
vampires are
about-
standing there, and then they're like,
But what about when they're underground and
"What
there's
kind
all
of
the
gang is
coffins?
this?" I think that was just some other vampire. I don't think that was.
No,
that was
it had the same 3 teeth
Well, they probably,
and the fangs.
they probably used it.
Crazy.
Or that
I
was
don't
Grace
remember.
Jones at the end.
It wasn't. It was her. It was the same
Yeah.
actress. Oh, you cannot be.
Could-
You can't be all knowing and know everything about this movie and say
It-
you didn't
it
pick up on that.
It might be the same
that's
actress,
fucking-
but yeah,
it's
it's not the same. They're not the
It
same person in the
is.
movie because she
They-
wasn't a vampire.
Forget about it.
She wasn't
Hey,
a vampire.
What we got?
maybe
We
she
got to talk
became one
about.
at the end.
Could
We
be.
can't forget one of the ballsiest characters
Oh,
in
wait,
this whole
let me-
movie.
Let me
All
guess.
right.
Let me see.
all right,
Is
all right.
it? Well, it could be 2. Could be Sandy Barron, Vic, the nightclub owner, or the wrestler, his bodyguard.
the
Bodyguard.
the MC of the
Oh.
night. That guy, when he introduced the dances, that created this whole surreal vibe that was the perfect setup. It was like David Lynch type of movie. With
Yeah.
like the way they did the lighting and his delivery. And what was
You
his
ever been
deal?
to Vegas?
He wanted to go to Vegas. That's all he wanted.
All he wanted. Run a night. I just wanna-
And that made me wonder,
Vegas.
where the fuck are they? Wait, and I looked it up. They're supposed to be in Kansas.
Yeah, but it's downtown
Yeah.
LA when they come
They
out.
are in Kansas
Right.
anymore.
Yeah, when every time I watched it, I always wonder because when they're at school, it's very green,
Right.
very like whatever. I'm like, huh. I always, for some reason, thought, okay, Northeast or fucking somewhere where there's a lot of foliage. And then when they get down into the city, it's like, I mean, it's downtown LA is where they filmed it, but it's so
Right.
different. And I'm like, what? Wait, where the
Got
fuck
that
are
Wizard
they?
of Oz right there.
Yeah.
Kansas.
Which is funny when the car spins around. They're like, oh, and they just fucking
Right.
end up. There was a lot of cutting too. 'Cause
There you go.
Yeah.
I didn't even catch that. The car spinning. That was an homage to Wizard of Oz right there.
Even
because
if
it
it
was
wasn't, that's
supposed
what
to
we're
be.
making it.
It is now.
God damn. We're rewriting the story.
What do you think? Oopzilla,
Sure.
right?
I
Kansas,
think that
Wizard of
I'm
Oz?
currently looking up on my phone to debunk what you just said about her not being a vampire.
Yeah, they weren't vampires because they
I
they
know
meet
that she wasn't in the beginning, but she must have been turned because when they're in the fucking sewers, there was a vampire with caveman teeth that is that fucking chick.
when they were lighting them all
remember.
on fire. That
Yes.
part?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I think it was just. I mean, it might have been the
No.
same actress, but I just think
It's not the same actress. It's the same teeth. It's the same.
Well, I mean, they didn't have a lot of money on this movie, so they probably just used the teeth.
Those are her real teeth, bro. They were so fake in that opening scene.
Oh yeah, so they probably just used the same teeth. Like, oh, we need some teeth for a vampire.
No, because they even comment where I will.
You know what part made me laugh out loud though? When we first saw that gang, right? They were in like the coffee shop, the donut place or whatever, and the Long Duck Dong's in the bathroom, and they're getting in a fight, and he comes out, and he made up this on the fly this excuse that he was like the janitor.
Yeah.
He was like, it's all backed up there.
Mhm.
These fights
I
are
laughed
tough.
out loud.
I'm gonna be a little bit. And he goes back in, and I'm like, oh, dude, that's so.
All
Like,
right!
this movie is fucking comedy gold.
It had some good stuff going on there, but it got genuinely scary later. And the suspense was good. Like they knew how to change gears. That's what I'm telling you. This movie could have been a contender. Let me tell you.
I think circumstances like Oubliette was saying before. I mean, it just came out when all these other blockbusters were coming out.
I don't think that it's more the execution, the final execution. Like I said earlier, the editing, the score, like it's just the final finish to bring it to its true potential. It didn't reach it.
It was definitely, there was some issues with it, in the lower budget. Like
Right.
there was more potential there. For sure.
Comedy horrors are always kind of a weird bag. Like what comedy horrors are greats to you? Like big ones.
None that are big.
Other than like Evil Dead franchise, like there's not a lot.
Yeah,
I mean,
tough. I mean, like
some of the
we were
Leslie,
talking
like
about,
the Leslie Nielsen stuff,
like Nightmare on Elm Street. There's a lot of good laughs, but it's not horror.
It's a lot darker.
Really.
Right. So I think
is
that
different. The ratio.
So I think for that, like, I mean, there's some good ones like Transylvania
65000.
Yep. But even then, like, that's not a giant movie. So I really feel like this one could have gone that way, but they would have had to go darker or way more comedic and less horror.
Oh, I got it.
I just don't think they've.
Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
Totally.
Come on, forget about it.
No, that is a great one. And there's some others that are great, but they're, as far as movies that go down in history, things like that you're talking about, alien movies like that. It's hard because it's one of those things that isn't really palatable to a lot of people. Like
it's definitely a niche market,
Yeah, a lot of people don't want anything to do with horror, and I feel like a lot of people who don't like horror don't want to watch horror comedy because they hear horror and they're like, no.
Right. Well, that same year, Little Shop of Horrors came out, but that's sort of in a whole category of its own because it's a musical.
Yeah,
but
and Jack
also,
Nicholson,
it's a remake.
Well, and Jack Nicholson did it before that.
Yeah, right. And Rick Moranis, so he was in Ghostbusters and all that shit. So,
but yeah, so look at movies like Ghostbusters. So that goes into that kind of horror element, but not as far as this one did.
Yeah, this one was more horror than comedy, but still, it was like 60-40, 60 horror, 40 comedy, whereas like Ghostbusters is the opposite.
I haven't seen it.
Like,
it's like 15
forever,
horror,
but maybe in the same category of like Fright Night.
Oh, totally. It's like a
Yeah.
campy 80s horror comedy versus
Right.
comedy
Yeah.
horror, you know.
But again, Fright Night didn't bring the sexuality and the darkness. So like
Fright Night was just an homage to the old
But, like,
Universal stuff for sure.
Demon Night did for sure,
Mhm.
as far as that, but it had less overtly comedic values.
Right.
I think because this one was really campy, but then also had like the darker sex stuff and then the weird kind of artsy Grace Jones stuff. I think people didn't really know where to place it.
Speaking
Which-
of sexual,
Really,
Oh,
like,
balance.
yeah.
there one again. Speaking of sexual stuff, so Dee Dee Pfeiffer,
Mhm.
Allison in this movie. So
I love her.
she's great. So in the commentary, you know, they're going all through the movie and they're talking about how she's the only stripper that doesn't take off her clothes and all this stuff. And she's like, "Oh, it was like my
But
first."
she's a cocktail waitress.
No,
Right.
she's a
She
stripper.
wasn't the stripper.
No,
Oh, she did both.
Yeah, she
All
did
right.
both. She was a stripper.
Did she?
Yeah, which
I thought she was the new girl, and
Right.
they were just starting her out serving drinks. And
every time I
later-
watch this movie, I don't realize that she actually gets up on stage and dances, but she doesn't take her clothes off.
Oh,
I didn't
really?
realize
Yeah.
that.
Was she the one with the tool belt?
No,
No, that's different. Lady.
it's yeah.
That one was awesome.
that was
right.
good.
There's
Props
also
to
a female
her.
bodybuilder
Yeah.
in.
I
the
was
one with the
watching
whip,
that and I was like, God, I wish strip clubs were really like this. I'd go to them.
right? Well,
But they're
the
not.
the chick, the dominatrix looking chick. She was a female
Yeah.
bodybuilder. The fucking bodyguard guy was an old pro wrestler. But
Mhm.
but yeah, she gets up and doesn't take her clothes off. And she's talking about, oh, I was young and it was like my first, real big movie or whatever. And I didn't, I was just nervous and I didn't want to do that and whatever. But then she's like, oh, but now, yeah, and she just like halfway through, she starts getting like, oh yeah, I'm a freak, and just starts talking like that the whole rest of the commentary. I'm like, all right, Dee Dee Pfeiffer, we get it.
All right,
like-
Dee Dee Pfeiffer.
You like to fuck, apparently. So it's all she keeps talking about. So it was just funny that,
Terrific.
yeah, I was like, all right, lady, calm down, cougar.
She's fantastic.
Right? She's trying to get
There's
some.
nothing wrong with that.
There's
Maybe
nothing
we
wrong
could go
with
see
it.
her
It's just
perform.
it just comes out very like she might as well have just said, hey guys, look, before we get started, I love to fuck and I'm down for anything nowadays. So like hit me up. That's she just kept on reiterating it, how much of a freak she
That's
is.
terrific.
Oh, I'll take my clothes off now. Yeah. I'm like, all right, well, all right, lady. Calm the
Maybe
fuck
she
down.
was naked during the commentary.
I mean,
That would be
I hope
Oh,
so.
she's still super cute now
mhm.
and does not look her age.
No, she
How
looks
old is she now?
57.
yeah,
57.
she looks like just an older version of herself.
Hey, all right.
Yeah.
Terrific.
But that was funny. I was like, all right, we get it. We get it, lady.
All right, Dee Dee.
Back to vampires.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dee Dee.
Get yours,
Big
Dee Dee.
fan.
Hell yeah. Which
She sounds terrific.
I feel like more people should like this movie. And I don't really see a lot of these people at any of the Comic-Cons, or not Comic-Cons, the horror cons, which is weird. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe they
this
do, and I
one-
just don't know. But
I had no idea this movie existed till you asked me to watch it for this. I had no clue. And then I looked at the poster and I didn't want to watch it. I was like, what is that? Grace Jones doing cosplay is Ronald McDonald. That's what it looked like to me. And I was like, why do we want to watch this? And then as it got going, I got pulled in and I was like, hey, this is terrific. This has a lot going for it.
There's
So,
another
I don't
there's
know,
another
it's-
cover though where it's AJ's face in between like the V, and it's showing his
Mhm.
teeth, and it's a little.
Oh,
more
I remember
spooky.
that.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. I remember because that's the cover they used to have when I used to go rent this all the time when I was little, and then they switched it over to the Ronald McDonald Grace Jones cover.
Mm,
So you just missed the fucking cover change. That's all.
right. That's what I missed out on. And they should. Why didn't they have the Rick Moranis, Mel Gibson guy on there? I mean, both those guys were popular that year. He could have hit both fan bases.
Child actor was also in fucking My Bodyguard, 1980.
He had an interesting name. I forget now. I think it was Make Peace was his last name.
Yeah. Was it? Yep. Chris Makepeace.
American Indian?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But his name was definitely not Wank.
Hippie? No.
Not
No one's-
Wank.
No.
I mean, could that guy have been a more perfect blend of those two guys? I can't get over it right there. It's incredible. Every scene he's in.
Mel Moranis.
Wait, is he more Gibson right now or more Moranis? I can't decide.
Rick Gibson.
Blew my mind. It made
just
it
call him
worth watching.
Rick Gibson from
all
now on.
over. Yeah.
I just realized Dee Dee Pfeiffer is in a show I'm watching right now.
You're kidding
See?
me right now. Right now on the TV behind you?
No.
Is she naked in it?
No, she's kind of like a frumpy-ish office worker.
God damn it.
It's-
People start casting her for scenes where she's just banging a bunch of people
That's
and
right.
getting naked.
That's what she needs.
It's obviously what she
Come
needs and
on,
what she
Dee
wants.
Dee.
No, this is
Never-
this is
never
her in
too
the
late.
show.
Oh, she's
She
still
looks pretty wild.
that's a hot mom right there. Be like,
Yeah.
dude, what's up with your mom? Yep.
Exactly.
Oh,
I see
yeah.
it. I see it.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
No. She's super cute in it, but
Yeah.
and it's this awful show called Big Sky. But serial killers, pedophiles, horror-ish stuff goes on in it.
There you go. Did anyone notice
See.
in it when they were in the pawn shop and Keith kills the vampire behind her because she's being all like weird or whatever, and then as they
She's
walk
like,
out,
won't say her real name,
yeah, he looks at the mirror, up
and
in the
she's
corner.
not in it.
Well,
But she's also walked away.
right.
They were trying to make it seem like she might be a vampire to
Yeah,
freak you out.
there was some stuff cut out of that scene because they were
Right.
talking about
There
it.
was a lot of that in this whole movie. Where
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. The editing was weird
Yeah,
because you could tell sort of what they're trying to imply sometimes in the narrative in a certain scene, but it's like sloppy. It wasn't
Mhm.
quite there, and you're kind of like, I think that's what they were trying to do.
yeah, it always confused me, and then I rewatched the commentary on it, and they were talking about it, because Wank was also in the commentary, and he was just like, it was just bad editing. It wasn't necessarily like,
Oh,
you know,
really?
yeah, because
That's
he was
funny
like,
because I really thought they were actually trying
well,
to
that's
be
what I
witty.
thought, and I think they were maybe trying to thinking about doing something like that, but it was like in the scene, she's already gone by the time he looks in the mirror, and it's like the timing is all weird, so he's just like, just didn't work
Yeah.
out.
I felt like it was just trying to plant a seed that
Yeah.
didn't work.
Well, yeah.
Should we talk about candy corns?
Yeah, I think it might
Rating.
be time to Rate-
What's the total number?
five, and you can do
You do
You know,
fractions.
fractions,
You can do.
point threes, like whatever in it.
Out of
Whatever you
5.
think.
That's a tough one. Because there's the potential that it could have been, which would have
Yeah.
been up there. But then
Mhm.
actual execution for whatever factors, whether it was budget or just the talent, whatever, didn't quite reach where it could have been right there. Who goes first?
We
You
have the
can.
guests go first.
I'm going to have to say 2.
Okay.
2 out of 5. And the reason, because if I said 1, I'm that's like the bottom of the barrel, right? And that's kind of like you're not recommending it. But I'm saying 2 because there is value in watching this movie right there. There's plenty to enjoy. There's things that are funny, genuinely. They're good in performances.
The donger. Come
The
on.
donger is funny. You get to
Wham!
see,
Right in the tchotchkes.
yeah.
Ah, fucking love
So
that
this
guy.
stuff, it's worth
Yeah.
watching at least once, I think, especially if you're really into the whole 80s thing, because it's like E said earlier, that as far as the lighting, the music, everything is very 80s, big time. And the outfits, it's crazy. The wardrobes,
Yep.
full on
Yeah.
right there.
Oobzilla.
So
Oh,
I am
geez, here
going-
we go.
what? I'm going to break the rules like I always do. I'm going to give this a 4 cone brawl, fishnet, creeper wearing, new wave, awesome 80s rating. But as far as candy corns go, I'm going to give it a 1.5.
1.5.
Yes. I think that it is a lot of fun. I'm really glad I watched it. I can't believe I've never seen it. But for
Same.
me, this is way more comedy than horror. And I'm going to take a page out of E's book and say, like 5 is the best. 3 is still great. 2 is good. This isn't a horror movie to me. There were horror elements, of course, but I can't give it more than that for a horror rating. But I am really glad I watched it. I think it's a lot of fun. I think that if you're looking for something lighthearted and silly to watch that you don't necessarily have to pay a lot of attention to, I think if you're a Grace Jones fan, I think if you're an 80s fashion fan, I think it's a great movie to watch. Not really horror for me.
Oobzilla coming in hard.
Not hard. I like it. I just gave it like a
It's
big
got
80s
vampires in
rating.
it, and they kill people.
Hey,
It's
dude,
supernatural.
listen.
It's a monster movie.
Hey, you know what? Listen to me, motherfucker. I fucking love the 80s. I am a child of the 80s. The fact that I gave it that high of my new 80s rating score is great. Like, and said that
There's
I
a
can't
ballsy
believe I had never
caveat
seen
right
it.
here.
You want
I think
more
it's great.
fear. You want more fear in your
No, I mean,
She's talking
I
about the
don't,
context right here.
I don't
this is
like-
the monster candy rating.
you know,
Does it fit? Other ratings is
Yeah.
high.
right.
No
Fright
problem.
Night is a solid 3 for me. This isn't that. And I think, everything we've talked about is kind of true in the fact that it had so much potential that it didn't. So I am being a little hard on it. I think, if it didn't have a different director, if it had a better score, way higher. Demon Knight to me is like a 4. So it could have been there. I needed more horror, more thought into it.
All right.
But fuck it, like it's fun. I would.
Hey.
I mean, if it was on TV, I might not turn it off.
It's the same reason that Lou Ferrigno did not win the Mr. Olympia. It is, he just needed a few more months to prepare. I mean, forget about potential.
Exactly.
We all know
Exactly.
that Big Louie
No.
could have been the world's greatest bodybuilder of all
More
time.
weight,
but at
Dad.
the day of the
More weight.
contest, he wasn't there.
But you know what? He was fucking awesome in the extended version of Goonies Are Good Enough music video. He was awesome in the Girls Just Have Fun extended music video.
Yeah.
He was awesome in almost every Cyndi Lauper extended music video and should have fucking won an award for it. So there is a place for everything, as in this movie got a great 80s rating but a shitty horror rating. Sorry.
All right,
It's
all right.
fantastic. Come on.
I think this movie's gonna grow on Oubliette. She only watched it once.
I
think it's
like it. I
it'll grow on
fucking
you.
like it.
Come on.
You
Get
know what?
serious. Two
You know-
more.
E, you keep saying it. You fucking, what did you give Motel Hell?
I don't know, like a 1.5.
And that movie is fucking horror gold and comedic. So
I mean, they have Ivan and the Terribles.
here's your 2. Okay.
Ivan and the Terribles is great.
Hey, Oobzilla, you should hear about our discussion of Monster Squad.
Oh, geez.
yeah.
I mean, this almost destroyed our friendship right here. because I was not.
Oh.
I watched
Yeah.
it as an adult just now, and I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
there's no nostalgia element here for me, so I'm just watching it as a movie, and it stinks. And he almost killed me.
That's
He
terrible.
still even.
Yeah.
I mean, I shouldn't have even brought
Look.
it up.
No, now that you're saying it, I see the figurines behind them raising their weapons.
Right.
It's
Right.
weird. It's like they're
They're
moving.
coming. They're coming.
And Creature, the hands reaching out farther. You better run. You better
I'm
run.
telling you right now.
He's going to be in your garage. He's actually, oh my God, he's behind you.
I would not be surprised. Hey, but this was in the past. We're over it now.
We've
moved on. We've agreed to disagree.
I've accepted.
I can see by his face he doesn't accept it, and it's awesome.
I've accepted it, and I moved on. I can
friends.
forgive, but I won't.
Hey,
forget.
I'm here. He invited me onto the podcast.
No, he did.
A little.
It's
a little
okay.
bit,
I
a
don't
little bit
like
before
Elvis or the Ramones.
Uh,
Not really. Oh, he is
greatest
Oh,
rock
did you
band
just say
ever.
that out loud right now?
Oh, I did. I
We all like
did.
the monkeys, right? High five.
Yeah.
Yes.
We won't even discuss.
Elvis is all right.
Well, greatest entertainer ever, but
Yeah. No, entertainer, yes.
yeah,
Musician,
Oh.
singer. Yes.
singer, yes.
No,
Musician, he was good. Did he write stuff? No, but
hardly.
you'd be surprised how many stars didn't write their own music back then, or their hits.
And most don't now.
yeah,
I'm actually not surprised by that as a songwriter. So
right. So I mean,
right.
it happens. Especially back then. It happened. But
Yes.
before I get in to the
Let's
rating,
get him mad before he gets a rating.
motherfucker.
He's gonna be like, "It's a 5.
Sorry,
It's a 5.
I
5
knew I
cute
should-
little candy corn. They're so fucking cute."
fucking
I should
turn
not
into
have brought up
Ralphie
Monster
from the
Squad.
Christmas
I don't know what I was thinking. Blew it.
So the end scene where she gets the fucking arrow through her mouth and the fucking pipe through her chest, and she's walking.
Oh, Bennett, let off some steam.
Hey,
That was a perfect homage. I forgot to mention that.
a thing the director mentioned about that just didn't turn out the way he wanted it to. Like that whole end scene, he was like, was a clusterfuck because short on time and everything was just not the way he wanted it to be. But so, because he wanted it to be more grand and like a bigger thing, because when she's like walking, she's kind of just like a marionette kind of, but apparently she couldn't see at all with the contacts in. So, and she was stepping on shit. So she was basically
Because those are the old school contacts where it was
trying
like,
not to fall and break her neck. So it was very like rough and shit like that. And then the one scene where she gives the middle finger after she burns up, you could see the
dude's hand.
Yeah, the guy's hand, which is funny. So on that note, I will give mine and Shotzi's score because they were almost identical, which not surprising if people have listened to the show before. We're usually on par with our things, but we both give this 3.7 cute.
oh my God.
Grace
Holy
Jonesy cone-tittied candy corns.
Whoa! Holy shit.
I don't know what's wrong with you guys. That's awful. That's just
some
bad.
heavy emotional attachment to this movie right here.
Yeah, that's super weird.
I mean, I own it, but I like it.
Yeah, I just
More,
I don't really understand that at
the
all.
more I like it. Like I keep watching it, preparing for this, just rewatching it. And I'm like, I watched it once and I'm like, oh yeah, it's cool, whatever. There's some stuff but the more I watch it and the more I notice the timing.
So as a horror movie, you think it's a 3.7? Horror being hold on.
Not scary. Monster movies.
I'm not saying scary.
I have to say though, Monster Candy,
horror,
the candy part adds
horrific.
a bit of whimsy.
Sure,
Sure.
There's definitely whimsy, but like, you guys.
What would you give Predator? 1987 Predator.
See, Predator is an interesting movie. Oh, it's because I want to do it, so I don't know if I can give out my score yet.
All right.
There's something out there waiting for us.
And it ain't no man.
We're all
But-
gonna die.
But
Come on, I'm here. Kill me. Do it now.
that's an interesting movie because
What are you waiting for?
much like much like Terminator, sure, it's a science fiction movie, but it's also a big action movie, but
Right.
also with
A monster
horror
movie.
elements and a monster movie. So there's a lot
Predator.
going on with.
Can I come back when you do Predator?
Oh hell yes!
Oh yeah. I mean,
Hell yes!
Yeah.
We're
So
gonna do Predator.
I wonder what Dom would give this movie.
I mean, there's tits, so
He would give it a 2.5.
I think he would give it like a 2.75 because of all the nakedness.
And on that note, everybody, go out and watch Vamp. It's Oobzilla's new favorite movie. She gives it a 5 zombie candy corns.
This is what I heard. It's crazy.
I
I
gave
was
it a
like, at first it started
4
off as
awesome
1,
80s
and then she
points.
was like, no, fuck that.
That's
It's a
true.
5.
On a whole different rating system that she invented right here. She gave it 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty
So,
huge.
so shut the fuck up, you.
Here we go.
I don't know.
All right. Well, thank
All
you guys for having me.
Yes. Thanks for
We'll be
coming
back.
on.
No, thank you for coming on. And we're hoping that E breaks out of his weird Grace Jones hypnosis by the next episode. Something fucking happened when he watched
It's more of the
that. I don't even
donger
know what it is.
episode, or more of the donger.
He does love the donger.
Yeah.
He
Well-
we started this episode talking about how he's okay with 3 balls. So because
3
I
balls.
was trying to no, I said that you guys were only okay with 2 balls, me and your own, me and you like other guys' balls, and then you came in and said 3 balls. So
I think he
4.
was thinking of the
maybe that's
last
what's
resort.
going on.
Yeah.
Like the 3-titted lady.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what's
3
going
makes a
on
party.
over there on Mars. Get your ass to Mars. Get your
Heard
ass
it
to
here,
Mars.
folks.
First
The Monster
Plato.
Kitty podcast. Get your ass. to
All
Mars.
right.
All right, everybody.
Thank you guys. Toodaloo.
I am so disappointed in you, E.
I
Bye,
have
guys.
come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
I hear you looking for candy, man, bitch.
Give me some sugar, baby. Like scary movies.
Want some candy?
Groovy.
You ever dance with the devil by the pale moonlight? We don't have to be mean.
Yeah, Jack Burton just looks that big old storm right square in the eye and he says, "Get away from her, you bitch!"
You're gonna need a bigger boat. Your move, creep.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.